restructure and clarify, generate alternatives, translate for audiences, and analyze data. You know, one of the things I see a lot of is staff reports. I design projects for builders and developers, and everything goes to a city or a county, and there's a staff report presented. Many of you need to learn how to write like everyone else thinks. Because, you know, you get these staff reports, they're given to the public, and they go, what are they talking about? You know, because you're using a lot of jargon, you're using a lot of acronyms. And so one of the things AI can do is it can translate your staff report to something that's audience friendly. And that's something to consider. Possibly looking at your data through or looking at your staff report through AI. Hallucination problem. You probably haven't heard it this way before. This is kind of the technical term. But AI really screws up sometime. And you have to be aware of that. I've had instances where I've written something, I've asked AI to analyze it, and it came back with something that's like, what in the world are you talking about? You know, you have to tell AI, you totally missed the boat. I get actually cross with my AI sometimes. It knows when it's really screwed up. And it really doesn't, but I hope it does. And so you have to assume, and particularly if you're dealing with a lot of data that you're having it look at and sending out information, it will make up zoning codes. It will make up, you know, court citations. It'll make up statistics. It's incumbent upon the user to check everything you get. When I get something from AI, I'm going through it line by line, reading it line by line, because there's a very good chance there's something in there I really don't want to be in there. It's either wrong or not what I wanted in the first place or something like that. Never trust an AI citation without independently verifying it. Some of the reasons why AI does this, some AIs are not current. The ones that most people use, like Claude, ChatGPT, Copilot. I don't know about Grok. Is anyone using Grok? I don't like using anything associated with Elon Musk. So it's like, nah. What is your sense from Grok?
I don't always believe what it tells me, but it sure acts like it knows what it's saying.
Oh yeah, well no, that's inherent in the process. So, but in terms of giving you current information that it derives from the internet, does it do that?
Yeah.
Okay, so I thought Grok would probably do that, but like I said, I kind of ignore Grok's existence. It's not neutral. Why isn't it neutral? It's got all this information it chooses from. And so it's not really kind of thinking about what it is you really want to know. It's telling you what it knows about what you want to know. Safe for concept summaries, best practices, verifies codes, statutes, legal references, zeta, zeta, zeta. Anyone have trouble reading the bills that come out of the legislature? What are those people doing? You know, they produce these bills. Was it HB 84 that was proposed this year that was going to just open up the world to new housing on 5,500 square foot lots? There was a bill like that. And, you know, obviously it would be advantageous to my builder clients, some of them, if that happened. So I read through the bill, and then I asked AI, tell me what this is saying. And so it gave me a breakdown as to what it was saying. I later had a conversation with the author, proponent, what is the guy called who's sponsor, thank you. I later had a phone conversation with the sponsor. We talked about some of these things. And unfortunately, he already figured that bill was the Titanic, and the Utah League of Cities and Towns was the iceberg. And it was going down fast. My apologies again. I'm going to leave it open this time and hope I don't spill it on Nicole's computer. So, I use AI a lot to tell me what a bill is all about. Because I'm just never going to figure it out otherwise. I just can't get through that much, what is it, verbena dictum? Is that the phrase? And I don't talk lawyer that well. So, but I'm going to have an example where we talk about zoning codes and how I've used it in that, so we'll move on from there. AI is a research tool. You're the expert. You're professional. Okay. Who's going to fire an AI if you make a mistake? Nobody. Who's going to fire you if an AI makes a mistake? Depends on how big the mistake is. Not that you're probably going to get fired. Most of you have really cushy public jobs, so you know. You might get demoted. You might get put in a worse part of the office that doesn't have any windows, you know, that type of thing. But you're the one responsible for what comes out of your office or comes out of your computer. It's your job to make sure it's okay. Oh yeah, the warning here, and I found myself guilty of this. As you use AI, you start getting used to the fact that it seems to be right all the time. That's really dangerous because you'll just kind of go along and let it do things and not start checking it because it hasn't screwed up in like 3 weeks. And so you let something pass you didn't really want to pass.
Like driving a new car with lane assist. Just let it do itself.
Yeah, yeah. I have the ability to just let my car go. You know, it's kind of like, what am I, an idiot? You know, I'm not ready for that yet. I'm old enough where I'm ready to die, but it doesn't mean I want to die today. So, prompts. This is the most important thing you can do. A vague prompt produces a vague generic output. Anyone have an idea what a vague prompt is?
A typical Google search?
Yeah, it's largely. How about, tell me what you know about the Boston Braves. Boston Braves don't exist anymore. Boy, am I dating myself. Tell me what you know about the Boston Celtics. Is that a vague prompt? What is it you really want to know about the Boston Celtics? Oh, are there ice cream sandwiches?
Yes.
Wow.
Sorry.
Oh man, I'm so distracted now. Oh man, you guys gonna be eating those things? Go ahead, I will cope. I love ice cream sandwiches. The Neapolitan ones are just fabulous. A well-crafted prompt, did someone say something? No. Well-crafted prompt produces a focused, useful, professional quality output. The difference between frustrating and powerful AI, and if you use AI enough, you will be frustrated. I've had times where I've just had to get up from my computer and go somewhere else for a while. I actually had a time a couple days ago where I typed in, "I give up," and then left the room. AI came back with a very sorrowful response to me. It was sorry. Okay, key elements of effective prompt role. Why is it important to say that you're an associate planner at St. George? Got any associate planners in St. George here?
So
No.
it knows the audience, maybe?
What's that?
It knows the audience.
Yeah, but you're talking to the AI.
Right.
Oh, I guess to some degree it knows the AI. You're establishing who you are so it knows who you are, and hopefully something about what you do. That creates an expectation on the AI's part of what it's going to give you. If you didn't tell it anything, you started asking questions, I'm just talking to this person who has no idea what they're talking about. So, that's one thing. I'm preparing a staff report for blah, blah. Be specific on tasks. Revise this section for clarity in plain language. I say this all the time to my AI. Concise and clear are my two most typed in phrases. other than please, because I try to make my AI happy. And the audience who will read this format, if you want it to be a certain way, I guess if you don't tell it what your format, it's going to punch out for you whatever it thinks you want, which is generally going to be not what you want. So if you tell it up front, for example, bullet points, under 300 words, clear and concise. Constraints. Here's something that drives me crazy about AI. Do not add new recommendations. Keep my structure intact. You wouldn't believe how many times I've had to tell my AI, stop changing the narrative. It will just start changing the narrative. It will like delete things you don't want it to. So you got to be very specific with it as to what you want. And these are just some ideas of different things that you might think. What's important down there is what it says in the bottom. Think in tasks, not in questions. What are you doing when you ask the AI something? Are you asking a question? You should think, no, I'm not asking it a question. You're giving it a task. You're like assigning a junior planner to do something. And so if you give it a task, it will respond in task mode. Not that it has task mode. I want you to get that idea. Don't go telling people, oh, Steve McCutchan said it has task mode. But you want it to give you an answer from task mode, not question mode. Question mode just kind of opens all kinds of doors and windows for AI. One thing, just remember, if you use AI enough, you will start to realize that you're just not talking to ChatGPT, for example. There are about 10 different programs that ChatGPT is pulling from to answer your questions. Some of those are like a wild hare. They will do whatever they want. I was doing some exhibits one time, and I asked the AI, why do you keep giving me what I'm not asking for? Well, I don't have control over da-da-da-da, is what it told me. And there are a lot of those aspects you don't. That's when AI is very frustrating. Provide the material, clear instructions, review and refine, finalize professionally. You control the outcome. If you just publish, which a lot of people do on Facebook and LinkedIn, what AI gives you, you have about a 50-50 chance of producing slop. And so you really have to read through everything. This is something I do a lot. I don't want AI to guess at what it is I want it to do. I upload documents constantly to AI. I update screenshots. If I'm trying to do something, I use AI, for example, to get through complicated online pages. I have no idea what they're asking for right here. What it is that you think it asked for, and they'll give me an answer, and then I look up what it says to do, and that isn't one of the choices. So then I screenshot it for AI and paste it in and say, look, this is what I'm looking at. Give me an answer that'll work. And so the more uploading you do, the much better information you'll receive. And these are kind of a summary of different things. I thought the public comments one was interesting. If you want to get a summary of your public comments, load them all into AI. It'll summarize them for you. Just like you all know Google has Google Gemini now, and it just loves giving you AI stuff up front. This is the same kind of stuff that like ChatGPT or Claude will give you. Put a figure in, ask it to identify what might be unclear to a lay audience. Things that we see and take for granted that the people we serve may not. And you can put in multiple documents, and it will compare and synthesize and identify gaps between them. Case example. A couple months ago, I've been working on this project, in example town for about 5 years. And my client is really frustrated. I mean, I know how much money he's paid me. I don't know how much money he's paid his attorney and his engineer, but I know it's like 5 times what he's paying me. So he's getting pretty frustrated. He's got a lot of money, but not everyone is Elon Musk again, or Jeff Bezos, who doesn't really care what anything costs. So 138-acre property. That should be 1,238 unit mixed-use development. Why didn't I ever see that before? What's that? Yeah. It probably led me astray. Thank you, I appreciate that. I feel much better now. I was really kind of depressed there for a minute. And what it asked me to do was, he wants to de-annex his property from this town and just deal with the county. Because the county has a professional staff, it's got elected officials who actually know what they're doing. And, did somebody say something? Somebody gasp? And the county would be much easier to process this through, but we got to get it out. But before we do that, and I've told him, getting it out is not going to be easy. That's not germane to this, but I just didn't want you to think I was encouraging him to do this, what is basically a ludicrous idea. About half my clients do ludicrous ideas, by the way. That's what you usually see, a lot of them. So I asked it to tell me in this county's ordinance, how might I go about doing what my client wants to do? So I started this conversation with AI. I tell it who I am, I tell it what we're talking about, and I ask it to review certain ordinances. I always put the URL up in there because I don't want it choosing the same name city in Missouri or something like that. So I always post, when I want it to look at an ordinance, I give it the URL that I want it to look at. And summarize the development alternatives. In red, you see the other thing I did here is I took the 2 best examples of this development I've done, and I loaded those in as well. And that way it gave it an idea of what I was trying to do. And somehow it understands these things. I don't get it. I don't even understand them sometimes. But AI just has enough there to be able to do this. So this is what it gave me back initially. 4 alternatives. Okay, Now it wasn't, I'm giving you a very big summary or of what it gave me. I got pages of information back about this stuff, but this is what it was summarized down to. First thing I told it, oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you that these certain properties that the county owns in the city, we want them out too. So it had to kind of adjust for that. I told it alternatives 3 and 4, yeah, we're not going to do those. That's like a step backwards. We could do that right now. And for the bottom one, please provide the response in entirety as a docs file. Why did I do that?
Edit it.
What's that?
So you can edit it.
Well, I can download it first. And it's something I can use. It'll just spit out stuff on the screen, but if it's something you want to hold on to, you ask it to give you as a docs file. I work in Word like everybody else does, or a PDF, or a graphical file or something like that. Tell it what you want out of it, and it'll give it to you. So from there, I started getting what's called iterative with it. I never pronounced that right. You provide advantages of a PUD. Are there any disadvantages? Please format them the same way. In other words, it told me what I wanted to hear. Now I wanted to tell me what I didn't necessarily want to hear. And then it gave me the next one, disadvantages, blah, 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 blah. For PUD, you provide a purpose and key characteristics. Please do the same for conventional zoning, which was the other alternative. In other words, I wanted to have these in a comparison mode so I could look at very similar things with them. And then some stuff over there. What's important here is what I have in the yellow there. Your reply, yes, please. I already mentioned this. I'm really nice to my AI normally. There's no reason to say please to an inanimate machine, but it just makes me feel better to do so. I don't feel like I'm taking advantage of it in some way, because it's doing a lot of work for me. A rich prompt produces a rich result. AI reads what you give it. Iteration refines the output. AI can be a proactive collaborator. That's kind of what this example showed. And I produced a report for my client that was pretty comprehensive about, if we do this, we're going to have this. If we do this, we can do that. All kinds of back and forths that he could make a decision of. Still waiting for him to make a decision, but that's not germane. All right, what this demonstrates. I think we looked at strong prompt produces a strong result. AI works best with actual material. Iteration is where value is created. AI can be a collaborative partner. Final thought, AI will not replace planners. Well, not in my lifetime at least. Some of you, yeah, you might be on the unemployment line. Hard to say. Planners who use AI effectively will outperform those who do not. You think that's true? And a lot of people, AI doesn't help you at all. But if you use it effectively, like I've talked about, it will give you better information by which to make decisions from and to advance your different things you do. Finally, your judgment is the profession. In other words, AI isn't on the hook for this stuff, you are. Act like it. I almost dropped the mic. I made that exhibit in ChatGPT. I've got my ChatGPT fairly well fine-tuned to give me what I want for the exhibits. What?
Microphone.
Oh yeah, sorry. So, your basic young white planners, this is Utah of course, and riding off into suburbia and the city. But the idea here is that AI can do a lot for you, but it can't replace you in anywhere and can't replace your judgment. So I was going to do a couple exercises, and because I couldn't use my own computer here, we're going to have to do them more kind of, what's the right word? Not with a computer? No, no. What's that?
Impromptu.
Not impromptu as much as, what? Didn't like, I thought of that word too and went, I don't know, just do it in a group. So, you want to update your resume because a position has opened that would be a promotion for you. How do you go about telling AI how you want it to change your resume? And that was not a rhetorical question.
I think you'd want to give it the job posting of the new job so that it knows
Exactly what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Excellent point. Other thoughts?
Upload your current resume and ask it to update it based on the new job description.
Yeah, give it what you have right now. Give it the job description. What else?
You could be specific on telling it, here's what I maximize like these qualities based on what I have here, because you don't want it to make stuff up that you aren't doing, or you go for a wild ride.
Okay. What if you're a planner, well, an emerging planner, who's just got out of college and has your degree in planning from either Utah State or, that other school, University of Utah, yes. What should that person put in their resume? We're going to go back to the other one in a second, but I just remembered this. You got some experience, but what else do you have right out of school? What's that?
GPA, if it's good.
I don't think people are impressed by GPAs personally. I'm not impressed by
I think
GPAs.
specific projects you've worked on, clients, maybe if through your schooling you did something for a specific city, a specific project.
Okay. Before that, what? What about the classes you took that will have a bearing on, on what you're doing? One of the best classes I took in college taught me how to solve problems. And it was a very artsy class that was given by, it was an architecture student and given by one of the arts, but it basically, they wanted to teach the freshman architecture students how to solve problems because they probably realized an 18-year-old really doesn't have any idea how to do anything. But, that would be something, you might emphasize. What kind of courses might someone emphasize?
Anything that's related to the job description.
Okay, anything related to the job description. What about skills? What skills do you have to have today?
Communication.
Talking more hard skills than soft skills.
Gotcha.
Everyone can tell you they communicate. Do you know how to use Microsoft Office? Do you know how to use the Adobe Suite programs? Do you know how to use Photoshop? Do you know how to use Acrobat? These are the ones you're going to, what do you guys use on a daily basis in your thing? If you're looking for a private job, you want to tell them you know AutoCAD because that's where everything is done these days. And you got to tell them how good you are at AutoCAD as well. You need to show them how good you are at AutoCAD. Okay. Going back to what we talked about before, let's see, there was something that I wanted to break up, but broke my train of thought. It'll probably come back to me. What else? Oh, okay, now I remember what it was. What if you're really terrible at formatting in Word? Anyone think they're really good at formatting in Word? I've been using Word since Word began, and I feel like I know it pretty well nowadays. Plus, I've been working as an author, and so I have had to format the books I'm writing as part of it. So most of you probably aren't very good at formatting in Word. So what do you want to tell the AI to do if you don't know much about formatting?
Format it for you.
Oh yeah, you don't want to do that.
Venturing a guess, maybe you could upload a document, say format it similar to that, this, whatever.
It's so easy, isn't it? I want my resume to look just like this. In other words, you go online, there are billions of resumes online. You find one, that you like, that's kind of the look you think works for what you're doing, and you upload it and say format it like this. My presentation was graphically created by Claude. Claude is one of the AIs. I did the presentation, and then I said, I want it to be punchy, I want it to be sexy, I want it to have a lot of color, I want to use a lot of different fonts, I want it to be bold, and after a couple of iterations, we came up with stuff like this. Well, I always like to say we when I'm using AI. Because, I'm part of the process as well. But, it, gave me something that was actually even a lot better than I anticipated. This book cover was done by ChatGPT. Anyone try to do graphics in ChatGPT? You think you can do this? You got to really know how to prompt to get something like this out of it. So I gave it an idea what I wanted. The book's based in Seattle, so I wanted Seattle in it somewhere. I wanted a person. Now it kind of came up with the kind of code to face part of it, which I was really enthused. I've posted this on different Facebook group sites. No one has said this is AI yet. Everyone thinks this is real. So I'm pleased as punch over all that. I talk a lot about myself, unfortunately. Okay. You have a document. One of the things I was going to do was, have a sample document and ask AI to do certain things for a sample document. You have a staff report, let's say. We've talked a lot about this already. You load the staff report in. What do you ask AI? We'll see if any of you were paying attention. I would say you were on your phones, but I expected you to be on your phones.
Give it a task.
Give it a task. What task? I don't mean to put you on the spot. Well, yes, I do, but you're not going to get away with that simple of an answer.
Let's see. A task to create a report.
You're getting closer.
Like a city or a public meeting.
Tell me if I'm starting to embarrass you, by the way.
Regarding-
I do this without even trying.
Regarding a maybe a development or a rezone request.
You're still pretty vague. What if you tell it, what is one of the things I said really strongly that you should ask your AI to do to your staff reports?
Make it more complicated.
Yeah. I think you're doing that on your own pretty darn well.
Turn these bullet points into concise paragraphs, perhaps. I don't know.
Usually people go the other way, but, that's part of it.
Make this less verbose.
I get it, yeah. Stop me from using jargon, please. And you may have to tell it what you want to use or something like that. What about this idea of making it public friendly?
Can you tell it a specific audience you have in mind, like
Sure.
citizens of?
Yeah, probably. I don't know. It might be better if you characterize the citizens a little bit more. I'm not sure how well it knows, for example, the people who live west of 56 West in West Valley City. So,
I've had a lot of success doing, like, telling it I want it to be written at like a 10th grade level or a 7th grade level, and then it actually will adjust the verbiage for it based on that level of audience understanding.
Could everyone hear him?
oh, they'll hear my answer. You don't ever want to tell it you want it a certain grade level, because now you're just demeaning your audience in some way. You want to just tell it who your audience is. I used to quip about the educational intelligence of a lot of planning commissioners. I don't do that anymore. It didn't go over well. It got out. But I'm just saying, well, in some ways you're right, but there's a lot of difference between some 7th graders and some 10th
It
graders.
makes a big difference when you're taking like from a technical perspective and you're trying to word it to something so the general lay person can
Yeah.
understand it. That's what I meant.
Just tell it, yeah. I was just kind of like, don't say that anymore. But you're right. You want to, how do I make this sound plausible to someone who has no idea what I'm talking about? So, other thoughts?
I've told it to, generate towards a new city council member who may not, like you say, know the jargon.
But they got elected. They know everything. Yeah. You have a new council member. You can't just assume, or you got a new planning commissioner, which might even be worse. Because a lot of city council members are much more informed than new city and planning commission members oftentimes. Just a value judgment on my part. 50 years of experience, remember that. And so, yeah, you want to gauge what you're providing for that lack of knowledge about what they're doing there, for lack of a better term. Other thoughts?
I have a question, if I may.
Okay. We're going to get to questions later, but I'm sure this is a pertinent question. Maybe not.
I can wait,
No? Well, is it a non-pertinent question?
probably.
Oh, yeah, I'll wait a few more minutes. I think we're about done here anyhow. Everyone's starting to look kind of uneasy and bored. So, did you know you looked uneasy and bored? Look at what the city council looks like when you're talking to them at a presentation. That's uneasy and bored. It's amazing how many times I've got up there and I've just wanted to go, get off your damn phone and listen to me. You know, can't do that though. All right, question and answer period, number 1.
So the majority of us in this room are public.
Yes.
Can you have them hold the mic?
Can I what?
Let him hold the mic so we can
Oh, boy, you're making me work harder again. And I got to play the whole room.
Now it'll be on the public record. So the majority of us work in the public sector, and that comes with a charge for protecting personal information. So I noticed one of your slides earlier was about summarizing documents, which I've done before in the past. I've generally gone to pretty extensive lengths to redact all of the documents before I feed it in. Is there a standard of practice? And I don't necessarily know that
I know this answer.
that you're the
Yeah.
answer for that. It might
Yeah.
be somebody in the group, but what is a good standard of practice for fulfilling the right to protect public information versus speeding up the process and summarizing things?
Okay. Anyone want to answer that? I always have an answer, so don't worry about that. You want to make the information that goes into this generic. And so you may need to tell it, I want it generic, and this is what I mean by generic. I don't want any names. I don't want any addresses. I don't want any birthmarks on their face that everyone will know. You know, it's kind of like you want it to give you not a person, but a summary of people. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question? No, I can tell. What did I miss?
Well, no, I understand.
I'm saying you're talking about, we're going to load in the Epstein files, and how do we keep all this stuff from getting to President Trump? So, no, I'm sorry. But
In essence, yes.
yeah, you may have, well, let's say you get a letter.
If the public fills out an online survey, that's what I used it for, right?
Okay.
We had 584 responses. I wanted to be able to summarize what the overall concepts that the public was saying,
Okay.
but I had to go to length. When they filled out the survey, I had IP addresses, I had names, I had email
Yeah.
addresses,
You need to purge all that stuff.
and I did.
Yeah.
But that took almost as much time as it would have to.
I don't know if you could have fed that in an AI and let it do it. I think I would have certainly tried. Here's all this information I need you to extract and throw away and never let me see it again. This specific information.
I think that the challenge is that we're unsure as to where that information goes. So
Sure, no.
and I believe that there's certain levels of added protections that you could purchase based on. I'm at Bountiful City, and we've done a deep dive.
Yeah. Oh,
I've done
okay.
a deep dive. I haven't. My IT, my city manager, we're doing a deep dive as far as how we can protect personal identifiable information. Is that what it is? PII? Yeah.
It is today.
Right. In that, if you take like the free version and you do exactly that, we are unsure as to. It won't let you see it again, but it'll be somewhere. So
It's always going to be somewhere.
We don't find that it's truly protected. So we could get in trouble. It could leak out. It could. I think that's where you're.
I
think that's where you're.
I'm not sure there's much you can do about the line that exists between the web and the dark web. In other words, you're going to produce a lot of information. It's going to go into AI. Obviously, it's going into this massive thing that is AI. It's never going to forget any of it, but you just don't want ever to surface to the light of day again. You just have to, I suppose, there's a certain amount of hope, or just don't give it the information in the first place. One of my philosophies is, don't ever say something that you wouldn't want someone to pass on to somebody else. So I think part of it would be, you know, just don't put it in there in the first place, because it will become part of what AI is.
So real quick, what we're doing in Bountiful is that we're creating an official policy for staff members to utilize, working with our IT departments, and they have told us, hey, if you sign up for one of these tiers, which by the way has to be approved by your manager, the information should be safe. In that, don't feed it anywhere, but they have a list, and if we want to incorporate another AI model, we have to get it pre-approved through IT.
Would that
Okay.
be pre-filter before it feeds AI? Or?
No, I don't think so. Tim, you have to talk to my IT folks.
Oh.
I do planning and zoning. I don't. I don't do IT.
And who knows what those IT people do anyhow.
Is they disconnected all of our accounts from being able to actually access the web. So you give prompts to AI, and it says, "Sorry, I can't access the web." So
Oh, using a, what is it, a what do they call a computer that's not hooked up to air gap? Yeah, using an air gap computer, I guess, but you can't use AI on an air gap computer. So, at least Elon Musk probably can, but I keep punching Elon Musk, and I'm really feeling great about it.
So in Logan, we had this whole discussion with the IT, and if you have like Google accounts, like there's that all those dots in the corner for Google, and it has maps and all that
Sure.
stuff. And if you scroll down, there's one that's like LM. It's some sort of notebook, and it's an AI generated thing, but it's like secure. I mean, your city has to pay for it, but it's like secure. So every document you stick in there, it doesn't go out to be used for the general AI gathering of information to spit it out to you. It's like secure within your little network thingy, and so you can put all the documents you want in there, and it's not sharing them with AI stuff. But it's called LM Notebook or something like that.
I'm not familiar with it, but it must be really far down the bottom that I never get to.
Yeah. And so your
Once I get
city
past
can-
slides, I'm done.
Yeah,
type
if
of
you're
thing.
using like Gmail for your city accounts or whatever, I don't know, then you can access that.
Okay, excellent. Other questions? I'm not going to let you out early just because you didn't have enough questions. Ah.
We're gonna make you walk the room.
Yeah, I know. Oh, here was my joke of the day I forgot to say. Has anyone checked their steps? Have anyone checked their steps this morning? I check mine. I'm like 2 times over what my steps are, just trying to get around this place.
Great.
Go ahead.
Just had a question, and maybe this is a question for anyone in the room or for you. Has anyone used AI to do? I just did a whole session on site plan reviews, and
this is gonna be
coming
good.
to find out that AI is kind of in the process of taking a big chunk of that portion of that job away. Does anyone have any experience doing that kind of review, and how has that gone?
Back there.
We have on administrative items, and mostly it's because
I'd toss this, but I'm going to knock someone out.
So Levi, we have it on administrative items where this is the crap that the applicant is throwing at you, and our job is a professional recommendation and double checker. I mean, that's what administrative items are half the time. So here's Title 11 zoning code, here's the site plan standards, and here's what's been sent in. Find the flaws, essentially. Like, find the places where it doesn't meet code, and that can happen a lot faster than sitting down in Bluebeam review and picking through it. I think that in policy decisions, your slide of we become the experts are easier, unless you're saying read these 4 city codes and punch out a waterwise landscaping ordinance that is similar to northern arid Utah or something like that. So we have done it, and it's faster than us going through it on some of those items that are take a ton of time but aren't legislative in nature. Or,
I mean, maybe a follow-up question: how do you check it that it's
Oh, yeah, more.
that it's giving you, that it's doing its job?
Does it sound like it's giving you in his job?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I've worked for the city for 5 years, so I think I know the code pretty well, so I'll find it. And there's course corrections, but part of it's just like, you are the content expert, right? So it's speed it up and then double check it.
Which platform are you guys using to do that?
ChatGPT.
Oh. Ah.
You just told all the students how to do it now.
Sorry, Steve.
So one of the things.
Oh,
we've been
did I finish
using-
with you? We finish?
I'm good.
Oh,
Did I
okay.
just take over? I tend to do that.
We'll come back.
I'm good.
One of the things that we've been using ChatGPT
Oh, we're still on the same
for
subject.
in Kaysville has been our meeting minutes, and it's been life-changing. Like, that is a weird skill set to have. It's not a fun job for staff to do, and it really has revolutionized how good our minutes are coming out. It's like I do a lot less editing. But we had to, it was very much a learning process with that, and you put the meeting recording in, it transcribes it, you give, like, the first couple rounds of minutes, they were using a lot of emotional language with the public comments, so we had them take that out. But that's one thing that has been very helpful in Kaysville. I don't know if any of you all are using it for minutes, but it's been really life-changing for our city recorder and the gal that does the planning commission minutes.
Yeah,
The quality of the minutes has been improved drastically.
I've thought about that as well. I've actually taken the audio tape from a presentation that was done and first I downloaded it into a speech-to-text translator and then put it into AI to ask it to summarize for me. So let's go back to where you were. Where were you?
Nibley, Utah.
No, not.
No, not where.
No, what were you?
I was just talking about site plan
Okay.
reviews. I mean, I think Scott gave an example. I was just asking for examples and how you verify that that it's good. I think you had a slide on this of just don't just trust it, but
Verify.
It's very technical going through the site plan review process, and I could see if you're doing that on a regular basis, you may actually
Excuse me.
it may become a crutch where you aren't the expert anymore on certain things. I don't know. I just see that as a risk.
But were you an expert in the first place? Not that I'm not talking about, but I think he brought up a good point that there are a lot of code I read through a lot of city codes, and they're not put together well sometimes. I mean, finding the landscaping requirements over here and the street requirements over there and the water, it can be rather difficult to find everything, but AI likely can. Go ahead.
Not knowing a ton of what, Scott, you've described, and appreciate the exchange about administrative reviews, but I'm thinking maybe you could also, their checklist that references the code, along with the code reference, that the checklist that planners develop to not miss anything might be helpful to feed in there and make it easier to review what AI spits out.
You might ask it to review the ordinance and see what it wants, see what it thinks you ought to add to the checklist.
Yeah, which I think Scott mentioned that. Look at our ordinance, but I'm just wondering if you mentioned in your presentation richness of information or specificity, and maybe a checklist that also references specific chapters, sections could be help one have more confidence in the initial review.
The better your prompt is, the better information AI is going to give you. And something like that would say, this is what I want you to look for. And it will look for those things. So, a couple more minutes. Oh man, everyone wants to leave. All right. Thank you very much. I hope this is informative for you. Good luck. Go forward and prosper.